Well, hello, Isaiah class. My name is Brian Smith, and I am excited to be your instructor for this class. Let me go over a handful of things that will be helpful for you as you take the class. Number one is this video. I am going to do a video like this for you every week. And here's why it's important to watch the video. The intention of the video is to help you better understand what you're doing for the assignment. So if you don't watch the video, you may be going off into left field. So it's worth watching the video. All right. Secondly, it's kind of difficult to create community when everybody's all over the world in cyberspace. So I think it's important for you to go to the class introductions, tell us a little bit about yourself, and embed a picture, if you will. That way we can attach your name with your face. And then tell us something fun. Tell us, do you have an interesting hobby, interesting pet? Do you hold a world record? So tell us something fun so we can get to know each other, then respond to one another. There's always going to be two students who find out, what, I live next door to you. So do the class introductions. Here's another thing. Check your Moody email regularly. Sometimes students go the entire semester. I'm trying to get a hold of them. It's your responsibility to check your Moody email regularly, please. And then late policy. Assignments are due midnight Monday. 10% late for every day. And then discussion boards are due. The first post is due Friday by midnight, and then you want to interact with at least two other students by Monday midnight. If you miss the the deadline, you got to get a 0. Okay, so get those in to be fair to your fellow students. So let me also now talk about 3 alternative assignments. And what I have found, I've taught this class for several years. I didn't write the original class. Somebody else did, and they're good assignments, but I have found that these assignments are, the alternatives are clearer and I think more helpful to you as students. So here we go. Week 1 would be this. Read Isaiah instead of the reading assignments. I just think it's good to know the book we're going to be studying. So read all 66 chapters of Isaiah. Now that's still a lot of reading. So if you do 11 chapters a day, you'll get all 66 in 6 days. Then at the end of the, when it comes to being the due date, you just drop me a little note that says I did the reading, and you get full credit. All right. Week 2 is an alternative assignment. You're going to get into the issue of multiple authorship. How many Isaiahs were there? And this will make more sense when you start to do some of the research. And the original assignment just had you write a paper. My assignment is more focused. It's having you read the Oswalt introduction, and he comes up with 12 arguments defending his position. I want you to read them and summarize them, not because you're to be brainwashed into whatever he says, but a great way to analyze a position is to find somebody who has argument A, argument B, argument C, and then you can analyze them better because they're all collected in one place. So it's a summary and then your analysis, all right? Then week 5, there's an assignment on the theme of the remnant. And it's not only how Isaiah uses the theme, but Paul addresses that theme in Romans 10 and 11. And the original assignment was a little vague. I've just guided you along a little bit more on how to do this in several tangible steps. So those are the 3 alternative assignments. Let me tell you about reading Isaiah. Let me give you some hints. Number 1, you're going to be frustrated if you don't know what you're reading. Isaiah is not a historical narrative like the Gospels or the book of 1st and 2nd Kings. Now, there are 2 major sections with historical narrative that are very important, but most of the book is prophecy. And it's not in chronological order. Some of it takes you into the new heaven and the new earth. Some of it's a judgment upon Babylon. Some of it's a judgment upon Israel. So I would prepare yourself to not be frustrated by looking at it as a collection of prophecies that don't necessarily chronologically all line up. All right. Now, I'll give you a little hint of how to make sense of how those prophecies are categorized. But first, just realize chronology and historical narrative are not the main genre of the book. You need to know the historical background. Isaiah prophesies during the time of several kings in Israel and Judah. And when he begins, Assyria is the superpower of the world. They have basically taken over the entire Middle East, and they're breathing down upon northern Israel. And the first historical narrative is Isaiah talking to King Ahaz about this threat of Assyria. Then you go through several prophecies, and in 38, 39, 36, 37, 38, 39, we have Isaiah talking to the son of Ahaz, Hezekiah, in Jerusalem. And the superpower Assyria is still threatening. They have taken over northern Israel. But you need to and what I do when I read a book like this is I pull out the Bible map, and when it starts naming names like Damascus and Syria and various names of cities, it's helpful to follow a map. All right. Now, this is a chart from the Moody Bible Commentary that is probably as helpful as anything. The first 6 chapters are what you'd call the prologue. There's some prophecies about judgment and then about the New Jerusalem. Then chapter 7 through 12 is Isaiah talking to King Ahaz, trying to encourage him to trust in God. He says, name any sign and God will perform a miracle to show you that he is on your side. And Ahaz doesn't want a sign from God. He pretends that would be that would be presuming upon God. So Isaiah says, well, God is going to give you a sign. Here's a sign. The virgin will be with child. And we're going to do a whole week on what did that mean to Ahaz? How could that have been a sign helpful to him in his day, yet also be fulfilled in Jesus? But this first narrative is of a king who rejects the sign. Therefore, the theme of all the oracles to follow is judgment. Judgment against the nations, judgment against the world, woes upon the nations, summary of judgment. So the unbelief of King Ahaz sets the tone for the grouping of most of the prophecies being prophecies of judgment. Then you get into 36 through 39. This is Hezekiah, and Isaiah offers him a sign, and he accepts it. He believes, And then you have signs of or oracles of blessing, but there is a huge gap right here. Israel goes into Babylonian captivity, and the oracles are now written for the people in Babylon. So that's why the question of dual authorship comes up. How can Isaiah be writing to people 150 years later? So you'll get into that. But I think if you just keep in mind, here is a king rejecting and not believing in a sign, therefore there's oracles of judgment. Here a king does believe, and there's oracles of blessing. One more hint that could be helpful. If you Google the Bible Project, they put together little 10-minute videos, and there's one doing an entire overview of the book of Isaiah, and they also do these little kind of cartoon maps of the various books, and this map will help you think through the different divisions within the book of Isaiah. So there you go. Good to meet you all, and have fun reading Isaiah, and I will look forward to seeing you on the discussion boards. God bless you.